Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome back to our playthrough of Arkham Horror, the card game, where we're taking on the Dream Eaters campaign. This week, we're back over to the Waking Investigators, as Jenny and Ursula get ready to take on their third scenario, Point of No Return. 2 weeks ago, when they took on 1,000 Shapes of Horror, Jenny and Ursula picked up 7 experience and no further trauma. We've upgraded their decks with that experience. Link to that video will be in the description down below. So now let's get ready for this scenario by setting the scene.
Scenario 3B, Point of No Return. Check campaign log. If Randolph did not survive the descent, proceed to Intro 1. If Randolph survived the descent, skip to Intro 2. Intro 1.
Hold it. Alright, so we check and Randolph did survive the descent, so we go to Intro 2.
Intro 2. You have finally reached the Dreamlands, but it is not as you expected. The Cyclopean underworld is far from the wondrous lands and fabulous cities described in Virgil Gray's writings. Perhaps the author never ventured this far underground, never found the horrors that lurk beneath the surface of the Dreamlands. You suspect he would not have left out tales of such a spine-chilling nature. As you venture into the dark, barren realm, you raise your concerns with Randolph. It is true that we are farther from your companions than we intended, he affirms. However, if I may offer another sentiment, perhaps this is a blessing in disguise. Clearly the underworld has something to do with the creatures invading our reality. I suggest we investigate further while we have the chance. We can return to the surface of the Dreamlands once we have discovered the truth. You ask Randolph if he has any leads, and he steps to the edge of a jagged cliff overlooking the cavernous realm below. I have been here before, he says quietly, getting his bearings. Those walls in the distance belong to the city of Guggs. To the south is a stretch of plains that looks over the vale below. That plain is where the ghouls live. Perhaps there we can learn more. You raise your doubts aloud, wondering if such creatures are even capable of peaceful conversation. They are more intelligent than you think, and could be quite helpful if we could convince them to aid us. In fact, there is one I count among my friends, an artist by the name of Richard Pickman. If we are fortunate enough to find him, that might be our best chance. You still have your doubts, but at least now you have a plan. Whether or not it is a good plan remains to be seen. Proceed to set up.
Alright, so that's what we're up against this week. Now we'll go ahead and get all of our starting details handled. Just like over the last 2 weeks, I'm not real thrilled with either of their opening hands, but I think I can make them work. So we'll start off with Jenny's opening hand first. First up, she's got her Hard Knocks level 4. We're going to see how good this is. Uses 2 combat, 2 agility on commit. Uses 2 resources. Replenish these resources at the start of each round. As a reaction, spend 1 resource from your resource pool or from Hard Knocks. You get +1 combat or agility for this skill test. Next up, we have an emergency cache. Gain 3 resources. You can never be too prepared. Let's hope not. Hallowed Mirror, which is our accessory, gets us our copies of Soothing Melody. Guts skill cantrip gets a commit for 2 will icons. And Lone Wolf. I think we've only used this when we had to discard an asset on one of Jenny's previous scenarios. Limit 1 per investigator. Reaction when your turn begins. If there are no other investigators at your location, gain a resource. I don't mind being on my own. That's when I do my best work. But we do need to find a weapon with her sooner rather than later. But Ursula's hand. Field work. We saw this with success last week, or 2 weeks ago. Reaction, move to a location. If that location has a clue on it, exhaust field work. You get +2 skill value for the next skill test you perform this phase. Next up, Hyper Awareness. This is a skill dump similar to Hard Knocks, just for lore and agility. Manual Dexterity, another skill cantrip like Guts, this one for Agility. Too easy. Let's hope. Deduction level 2. 2 lore on commit. If you succeed while you're investigating a location, discover an additional clue. 2 more if you succeed by 2 or more. And Mind over Matter. 1 cost to play, combat and agility on commit. Play only during your turn as a fast. Until the end of the round, you may use your lore in place of your combat and agility. So that will do it for opening hands. Let's go through our opening agenda and act. Agenda 1A, A Sinister Realm. The underworld is a cavernous realm, almost another world unto itself. Its ceiling is so far in the distance that it might as well be a somber, overcast sky. The walls of the caverns are dimly lit by a flickering gray light with no apparent source. You wander through the twisting catacombs in search of the way forward, but you can't shake the feeling that you're being followed. 5 doomed to advance. And then our first act. Act 1A, Entering the World, Version 2. Now, an eagle-eared listener may have noticed in the audio recordings that I was playing that it talked about a different intro depending on if Randolph survived the descent or not. That also affected us on setup. If Randolph hadn't survived the descent, we would have been using a different version of Act 1A. But we did survive, so entering the Underworld Version 2. You have succeeded in reaching the Dreamlands, but this is not quite what you expected. You are in the Underworld, and it will take some work for you to find your bearings in this sinister place. Forced, after an enemy with 1 or more clues on it is defeated, take control of each of those clues. Objective, find Richard Upton Pickman. You will be instructed when to advance. So we are looking for Randolph's friend who is referenced in the scenario intro. But that will do it for the agenda and the act. Now let's move over to our starting map. Here's our starting map. An eagle-eyed viewer will notice that we're using the clues from Team Covenant. So if you watched my product unboxing video from last week, you know that those clues were among the items I got from my various orders last week. But anyway, that's a little side note. You'll also probably notice the Doom tokens up and shot over here. We'll be using those throughout the scenario as well as we need to. But anyway, coming back to the map. So Jenny and Ursula are starting at the Vaults of Zin. Now you'll notice that each location only has a revealed side to it because they all will have the veiled keyword or some story text on the back. But let's take a look at the Vaults of Zin first. Shroud of 3, 2 clues. Veiled. As you recall from an earlier scenario, from Search for Kadath, if a location has the veiled keyword and no other way to flip it, when you empty it of clues, you can flip it as a fast action. So that's how that works. Now let's take a look at the flavor text here. For this is the mouth of the Vaults of Zin, and the vindictive ghosts, or ghasts I think that is, are always on watch there, murderously for those denizens of the upper abyss who hunt and prey on them. H.P. Lovecraft, The Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath, Victory 1. Connected to it, we have 2 locations. We have Path of the Ghouls, Shroud of 4, 2 clues, Veiled as well. It's a central location. Gugg enemies cannot enter the Plane of the Ghouls. If a Gugg enemy would spawn at Plane of the Ghouls, spawn it at the City of Guggs instead, which will be our next location to look at. The ghouls were in general respectful, even if one did attempt to pinch him while several others eyed his leanness speculatively. H.P. Lovecraft, The Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath, and another Victory 1. So that mentioned the City of Guggs. Let's go take a look at that next. Shroud of 2, 2 clues. Forced. After you enter City of Guggs, flip it over and resolve the text on its other side. Carter followed the loping 3 out of the forest of monoliths and into the dark, noisome streets of that awful city, whose rounded towers of Cyclopean stone soared up beyond the sight. H.P. Lovecraft, The Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath, Another Victory 1. And then our last location, which is only connected to the city of Guggs, is the Tower of Koth. Shroud of 5, no clues. As an action, test Combat 5 to lift the heavy stone trapdoor at the top of the tower. If you succeed, flip this card over and resolve the text on its other side. You're surprised to find that some of the creatures of the underworld, of the creatures that dwell within the city, seem to reside within this vast structure at the heart of the city. Aside from the strange sign upon the tower's doorway, it is barren and devoid of any decoration or purpose. Alright, that will do it for our initial map. Let's move back over to the play area, and leading us off this week will be Ursula. So we'll move over to her play area. Alright, here's Ursula. We're going to start off with doing a little bit of setup. So for her first action, she's going to spend 2 resources. We're going to leave the single there for the time being because we're going to be spending most of her resources. But her first action is going to be to play field work. Reaction, after you move to a location, yada yada yada, we saw this before. So we're just getting her set up for her mobility. For her second action, we're actually going to spend 2 more of her resources to play her hyper awareness. So she's got her skill dump active. So now we can pour resources for Ursula into lore and agility tests. And then for action 3, we're actually going to test to try to get one of those clues, so she's up 1. -2 doesn't get her the clue. That's unfortunate. So that will do it for Ursula. We'll flip over her mini card at the map area. And then we'll move over to Jenny, who her turn will take us over to her play area. Here's Jenny. You might notice a new dashboard. She's got the Dream Eaters dashboard from Team Covenant, in the same order as I got the Clues and Doom from. So those are really cool. But anyway, her first action, Jenny's also going to play a resource dump. She's going to spend 2 of her resources to play Hard Knocks. So unfortunately, we don't get the 2 free resources on this until the start of her next turn. So, at the start of the next round. So, again, that's similar to Hyper Awareness, just for combat and agility instead of lore. That's action 1. Action 2 will be to play Emergency Cash to give her 3 resources. And then for her final action, she's actually going to draw a card. So let's see what she draws. Arcane Studies, so we can get her skill dumps going in a hurry. So this is the same thing as Hard Knocks and Hyper Awareness, just for will and lore tests instead. But anyway, that will do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, obviously, it's the first turn of the game, so there are no enemies in play yet. But we will move up top for the upkeep phase. Here's the upkeep phase. Ursula will gain 1 resource and go back up to 2 resources. Jenny will gain 2 resources because that's her thing. She'll go up to 8 resources. And then Ursula will draw Pathfinder. As a reaction, during your turn, if you are not engaged with any enemies, exhaust Pathfinder, move to a connecting location. Ooh, that might be a good cause to get her moving. Jenny will draw another Emergency Cash, gain 3 resources. So we can definitely get her resources up to be able to buy her way out of tests or play weapons when we find them, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I'll reset their action counts as well. Start of round, before we go into the Mythos phase. So start of round, we'll grab 2 resources out. And we'll put those on Hard Knocks for Jenny. So those are set to go. So we have 2 free resources into Hard Knocks. Now we're into the Mythos phase, so we'll take our first Doom and we'll put it up on the agenda. And then Ursula will draw a Ghoul minion. Fantastic. And Jenny will draw Unexpected Ambush. If there are no enemies in play, take a damage in a horror, except otherwise test Lore or Combat 4. If you fail, the nearest enemy reaches... If otherwise test Lore 4 or Agility 4. If you fail, the nearest enemy readies, moves, 1 location at a time until it reaches your location and engages you. Then, if you failed by 3 or more, it makes an immediate attack. Alright, so Jenny is actually down 1. Let's take a look at her hand. She's actually going to test agility on that. Jenny doesn't have anything to commit. Ursula does, though. She's going to commit manual dexterity to put Jenny up 1. Unfortunately, we've already seen an up 1 test go wrong, so hopefully this won't be another one. Tentacle touched. Not how we want to start the scenario, Jenny. Alright, so the Ghoul minion that Ursula just drew now makes friends with Jenny and then makes an immediate attack. So Jenny will take 1 and 1. So there's her 1 and 1. That will actually flip over to a 2 because Jenny had a mental trauma from leaving Izzy behind in the first scenario. So we'll put that back up. And that's the end of the Mythos phase. Now we're back into the investigation phase, and our first investigator will be Jenny this time, so we'll move down to her play area. Jenny, how about a few less tentacles, please? Anyway, first action, she's going to spend a resource from Hard Knocks into attacking the Ghoul minion with her fists. She's up 2. Elder Thing. The Elder Thing is... Oh, you gotta be kidding me. -3. If you fail by 2 or more, choose a ready enemy at your location or a connecting location. That enemy moves to your location, engages you, and makes an immediate attack. Really, Jenny? We can't even get out of our own way today, apparently. So yeah, we just failed. But fortunately, we didn't fail by 2 or more, so we don't take another attack. We were up 2. Action 2. Let's run that back. So once again, we are up 2. Okay, a 0 gives us our first successful skill test 4 into the scenario. That's ridiculous. But anyway, there's a damage for our friend the Ghoul minion. Then action 3, we'll go ahead and try to take it out, spending a resource into Hard Knocks. In fact, I'm going to spend 2 resources, because she's going to get them back on the next upkeep anyway, to put her up 3. -1 kills the Ghoul minion. That should not have taken the entire turn, but alas. C'est la vie. Anyway, that will do it for Jenny. I'll go ahead and flip her player card. Next up will be Ursula, and for that, I will reset the spin downs. 1 for Jenny, 2 for Ursula. Ursula's turn will start at her play area. Here's Ursula. For her first action, she's actually going to take a resource, bring her up to 3. Then for her second action, she's going to spend those resources to play out her Pathfinder. So we'll start getting her moving on that. Third action will be to investigate, and she will be up. The question is, do I want to use? I'd rather save it if I can. I'd rather save my deduction if I can. Up 1. Cultist is nothing good. Cultist is reveal another token. If you fail after the skill test ends, draw the top card of the encounter deck. Wonderful. Okay, a +1 gets her a clue, so that'll work. So there's our first clue of the scenario. And then Ursula will actually the open player window after Ursula's last action is going to take us over to the map. Alright, so here we are at the map. And during her open player window after her last action, Ursula is going to exhaust Pathfinder to move up to the plane of the ghouls. There's my laser pointer, here it is. So she's going to move up to the plane of the ghouls. Then she's going to exhaust Fieldwork to get +2 to her next skill test, which is going to be her free Investigate coming out of that. So she'll be at 6. I'll commit Deduction to get up to 8 and go up 4, trying to get both of those clues. Skull, I think, gets her the clues. Yep, Skull is -X, where X is the amount of damage on this card. Right now there is no damage on here, so she gets both clues. As a quick aside, before I go into the Veiled, before I look at her Veiled location, damage on the scenario card would have been affected by the steps of the bridge that's been going on throughout this campaign. Fortunately, we haven't had any problems with that, so that's where that comes from. That's where the skull comes from. So, anyway, now we do get to flip this Veiled location. So let's take a look at what's on the other side. Alright. If the investigators possess fewer than 3 per investigator clues, we would need 6. Try as you might, you cannot make any headway with the creatures that dwell in this region. Flip this card back over. Come back when you have a greater understanding of this region. This card may be flipped over again when you are ready. Alright, so that's rather unfortunate, but there's nothing we can do there. Enemy phase. There are no enemies in play. Jenny took way too long on her turn to try to kill that ghoul minion, but she finally did. Anyway, let's move back up top. Once I reset the character mini cards, let's move back up top for the Upkeep phase. We're back up top for the Upkeep phase. Everything over here for Ursula will ready. Ursula will gain 1 resource and go up to 1. Jenny will gain those extra 2 resources she had to spend trying to kill that ghoul minion and go up to 8. And then Jenny will proceed to draw. Manual Dexterity. Skill cantrip, we saw Ursula use this earlier when Jenny got tentacle touched. And then Ursula draws. Tooth of Esli. 3 costs to play. Get a lore and an agility, or will and agility when resolving an ability on a treachery card. Reaction, after you succeed at a skill test while resolving an ability on a treachery card, exhaust Tooth of Esli to draw a card. So there's that for Ursula, I think. Oh, I never discarded the deduction. But anyway. Alright, so that's all handled. Now we're going into start of round. So Jenny gets 2 resources on her Hard Knocks. And then Doom will go up to 2. Jenny will draw first from the deck of Doom. She'll find an unexpected ambush. If there are no enemies in play, take 1 and 1. Alright, so Jenny will take 1. And another 1. So there's that. Ursula will draw. Come on. There we go. Rotting Remains. Revelation test will 3. For each point you fail by, take a horror. Alright, so Ursula is testing at... Ursula will test at even. Okay, 0 keeps her clear of any horror, so that works out. And then we have an open player window before we leave the Mythos phase, and that will take us over to the map. We're back at the map. We're technically still in the Mythos phase, but Ursula is going to be busy. So she's going to exhaust her Pathfinder, since she's still not engaged with an enemy, to move back down to the... Yeah, she's actually going to move to... Actually, she's going to move to the city of... No. She's going to move to the Vaults of Zin. Then I'm going to exhaust Field Work to give her +2 to her next skill test, which will be her free Investigate. She is up 4, 5, 6. She's up 3. +1 gets her the last clue. And it lets us flip over the veiled location. Ghastly Tunnels. Hisses and uncanny voices pursue you throughout this web of darkened, intersecting tunnels. You believe the myriad paths might lead all the way to the surface of the Dreamlands, considering the vastness of this network of caverns. It is a wonder you can even find your way back to where you started. However, you are not alone when you emerge. Search the encounter deck and discard pile for a ghast enemy and spawn it here exhausted with 1 clue on it. Shuffle the encounter deck. Flip this card back over. Alright, so we get a ghast enemy exhausted with a clue on it. And I will take the... And I'll just grab this Hunting Ghast. 2/2/3 Hunter, pray most damage, so it'll be looking for Jenny, assuming it gets to on exhaust. Forced, after Hunting Ghast enters a location with a Gugg enemy, ready each Gugg enemy in its location and deal 1 damage to Hunting Ghast. So that's exhausted. We'll get the clue for it. And then we'll give this a shuffle. Oh, crap. I was expecting him to... Never mind. Alright, so this will give this a shuffle and a cut. Alright, so now we've got a Hunting Ghast exhausted at our location. Our first investigator will be... We're back into the investigation phase, and our first investigator, I think, will be Jenny. So we're actually going to stay right here. We're going to spend a resource from Hard Knocks and go up to trying to attack that Hunting Ghast. Thank God we were up 2, so that's a damage on the Hunting Ghast. We'll run that back right down to the spending of the resource into Hard Knocks. And actually, we're going to spend another resource to go up 3, because I want to make sure we kill this if we can. skull, as we saw earlier, is minus X, where X is the number of damage. That's a 0, which means the hunting ghast is dead, and Jenny gets the clue on it. So we'll discard that, put that in there. Jenny gets the clue. Then action 3, I still need to find her a weapon sooner rather than later, so I'm going to draw a card. And Jenny draws. Watch this. So this is a skill test, a skill card that we've used before. As an additional cost to commit it for a will, combat, or agility test, spend up to 3 resources. If you succeed by 3 or more, get twice that many back. So we've seen that before. I'll flip over Jenny's player mini. Next up will be Ursula. So as a fast action, since I don't know what's coming over there, but that can't be anything good, I'm going to spend her last resource to play Mind Over Matter. So she's using her lore in place of her combat and agility this round. That's a fast. First action, she is going to move over to the city of Guggs. We don't have her free investigate because we used that to get the last clue off of the Vaults of Zin. Let's take a look at the city of Guggs. The Sentry. The kingdom of the Guggs is surrounded by a colossal wall. Inside, cylindrical towers rise high into the mist, each one windowless and made of gray stone, with large looming doorways at the bottom. One black tower stands paramount among the others, rising into the very ceiling of the underworld. You do not make it very far before you spot the sentries standing guard outside the city's walls. A tremendous creature with huge, furry arms and an obscene, toothy maw extending vertically through its head. Spawn a set-aside Gun Sentinel enemy at this location with 1 per investigator, so 2 clues on it. So we'll go get the Gun Sentinel enemy. Ah, here you are. Oh boy. Alright, so, take a quick look at that. 5, 2, 3 gets plus 2 per investigator health, so it's actually got 6 health. Forced, after Gun Sentinel readies, deal 1 horror to each enemy at its each investigator at its location. Then 2 pink eyes shown, and the head of the awakened Guggs sentry, large as a barrel, wobble into view. H.P. Lovecraft, The Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath. Victory 1, 2 damage, and 1 horror on attack. So it gets 2 clues on it. And then there's more on the location. So test agility. Test agility 3. If you succeed, Guggs Sentinel enters play exhausted and unengaged. Otherwise, it enters play engaged with you. Oh boy. Alright, so I am fresh out of manual dexterity, so Ursula is going to have to test this up 1. Plus 1 lets it enter play exhausted, so that's cool. Hopefully Jenny will be able to come in and give her a hand next round. But anyway, let's see. So actually, okay, that was a fast to play the no. Yeah, it was a fast action to play Mind Over Matter. Action 1 was to move. Action 2 will be to investigate. She's up 2. Elder Thing, fantastic. As we saw from earlier, the Elder Thing is -3. If you fail by 2 or more, which we didn't, we've only failed by 1. That's unfortunate. And then action 3 will be to move back out. So that will do it for Ursula. Enemy phase, the only enemy there is the Guggs Sentinel, but he will not do anything right now. So we'll go ahead and re-ready everything. Fortunately, the Guggs Sentinel is not a hunter. But we will go ahead and move up top for the Upkeep Phase. Actually, wait a second. Hang on. No, never mind. Or even if... I just remembered that Ursula was playing Mind Over Matter, so she was actually testing her lore instead. But even with that, she would have gotten the same result because she's at a lore 4. But anyway, minor detail resolved there. So we readied the Guggs Sentinel. Jenny and Ursula are both ready. I'll then exhaust Ursula's exhausted assets, then we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. We're back up top for the upkeep phase. Ursula will gain 1 resource to go up to 1. Jenny will gain 2 resources and go up to 9 resources. Jenny will draw. Jenny will draw. Leo De Luca, you are a sight for sore eyes. 5 cost to play, lore on commit, where we're probably playing him next turn. 2 and 2 on soak, you may take an additional action during your turn. Phenomenal. Ursula draws. I've got a plan. Fight. This attack uses lore. You deal +1 damage for this attack for each clue you have to a max of 3 damage. Alright, cool. Alright, so start of round. Hard Knocks gets its 2 resources. Now the Mythos Phase. Doom goes up to 3 on the agenda. Jenny will draw. Frozen in Fear. Oh joy. The first time you perform one of the following actions, move, fight, or evade each round, it costs 1 additional action. Forced, at the end of your turn, test Lore 3. If you succeed, discard Frozen in Fear. Ursula draws. Lit by Deathfire. Revelation. Each investigator loses a resource. Ursula cannot keep herself in resources, this scenario. Jenny goes to 8. Each investigator at a veil or a depth location chooses and discards a card from their hand. We are not at either one, and the other depth clause won't affect us either, so that could have been a lot worse. But anyway, we're back to the investigation phase now. Our first investigator for this round will be Jenny Barnes, and her turn will start us at her play area. Here's Jenny. For her first action, she is going to spend the aforementioned 5 resources to play Leo De Luca. So she'll still have 3 actions left. We just have to remember that Frozen in Fear makes move, fight, or evade cost 1 more action. But I don't think we're going to be doing any of those this round. For action 2, she's going to play Emergency Cash to get 3 of those resources back. In action 3, we're going to draw a card. And we draw Stunning Blow. If this skill test is successful during an attack, automatically evade the attacked enemy. And then for action 4, she's actually going to draw another card. Mostly because I'm still trying to find a weapon with her, but instead we find her other copy of Stunning Blow. Alright, so that will do it for Jenny. At the end of her turn, we are going to have to test Will 3. Let's see if we have anything we can commit to it. Actually, yeah, we're going to commit her copy of Watch This, and I'm going to gamble. So I'm going to spend 3 resources. And Ursula is not going to be able to help, so Jenny is up 1. I want to pass this, but I would not say no to 6 more resources. So I get neither, naturally. -2. Fantastic. So Jenny is still frozen in fear. Ursula's turn. Great. I think Ursula's turn is probably going to be very quick because we don't have the resources to do much right now. So her turn is going to be just to take 3 resources. Not the most eventful turn in the world, but I think right now she's hurting on resources too much. So enemy phase, the Gun Sentinel is not an enemy, so we'll move all the way back up top for the Upkeep Phase. We're back up top for the Upkeep Phase. Ursula will gain 1 resource and go up to 4 resources. Jenny will gain 2 of those resources back and go back up to 5 resources. And then Jenny will draw. Another copy of Leo that we don't need to see. Fantastic. Let me check her hand size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Never mind, we're fine there. I forgot to flip over their mini cards. Ursula will draw. Another copy of Deduction. Alright. Anyway, start a round. We would replenish the resources on Hard Knocks, only there's already 2 up there. Mythos Phase. Doom goes up to 4. Jenny draws. Another ghoul minion. Jenny, can we please not have it take so much time to kill that one this time? Ursula draws. And we get swarmed. Lovely. Just what I wanted to see. Another ghoul minion. Right. So I think that will do it for the Mythos Phase. First up in the Investigation Phase will be Ursula. We'll move over to her play area. Alright, Ursula, let's go ahead and evade this ghoul minion for action 1. I'll also reset your spin down to 1, Jenny to 2. Action 1, we're going to try to evade the ghoul minion up 2. And there is, I don't think, anything I want to commit. Let me look at Jenny. No, nothing I want to commit here either. So up 2. The Elder Thing. -3 if you fail by 2 or more, which we don't, but we do fail. Alright, action 2, we are going to evade. This time, Jenny is actually going to commit her copy of Manual Dexterity. So we're up 4. Alright, this time it's still a -3, but we do succeed this time. So the ghoul minion is going to end up evaded. And Jenny's going to draw a card. Jenny will draw. Another copy of Hard Knocks that we don't really need. Okay. Then Ursula is going to... Actually, we're going to Pathfinder her way over to the map. So we're going to exhaust Pathfinder. For a fast action after her second action, we're going to Pathfinder over to the map. Alright, so we Pathfindered over to the map, but Ursula's actual Pathfinder is going to be moving over to the city of Guggs, which will make her a friend. And then because there is a clue on the location, I'm going to exhaust fieldwork to get +2 to the next skill test she performs this phase, which is going to be... Do I want it to be her investigate action, her free investigate action, or... Because the investigate action is going to trigger an attack of opportunity if I do that. Yes, I think it will be her free investigate action. Attack of opportunity be damned. So she's going to actually 2 and 1. Yeah, I think we'll be fine here. So we'll take 2. So Ursula will take 2 and 1. I'm hoping I'll be able to get her away from that. I'm hoping this won't be around long. And then she's going to commit deduction to go up 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. She's up 6 trying to get both clues. Alright, the Elder thing this time is only a -3, but we do get both clues. So that's cool. And then that was her second action. That was her fast action. So for her final action, she's going to spend 3 resources and play I've Got a Plan. And then she's going to spend a resource into that. I did this in the wrong order to get to even. Yeah, I definitely did this in the wrong order. So she's even trying to do 4 damage. I don't want to trust that to an even but that was really dumb on my part. Yeah, that really blew up in my face. I should have done it the other way, but hindsight, as they say. Anyway, that will do it for Ursula. Next up will be Jenny, and her turn will start us at her play area. Alright, Jenny. We're going to try to get away from this ghoul minion and go help Ursula. So for actions 1 and 2, because it's frozen in fear, we're going to play... We're actually going to attack the ghoul minion, and we're going to commit a copy of Stunning Blow to go up 2, trying to evade it. And we're going to spend a resource from Hard Knocks to go up 3. Alright, a 0 gives us 1 damage and evades the ghoul minion. Alright, action 3... will be let me perform one of the following actions. Okay, so action 3 will be to move over to the city of the Guggs. And action 4, discard I've Got a Plan, will be to might as well try to attack the Gun Sentinel just so Ursula doesn't take the hit. So we're going to commit her other copy of Stunning Blow and Hard Knocks as I drop the Stunning Blow. So Stunning Blow is what we use to get away from the first ghoul minion. So we're at even, and I'm going to spend her resource from Hard Knocks to go up 1, and then 2 more resources besides to go up 3. So we mostly want to make sure Ursula doesn't take this hit. Elder Thing is a -3. Fortunately, we were up 3, so takes damage and gets evaded. Ah, wonderful. And that will do it for Jenny. At the end of her turn, she's got to test Frozen in Fear to try to get rid of it. She's even. She's going to commit Guts to go up 2. Holy criminy, the Elder Sign actually exists. It's a +3. Alright, so Frozen in Fear is gone, and Jenny gets to draw a card. Jenny draws, 45 Thompson, where have you been all scenario? You're here now, though, so we're going to try to get you out on the board next turn. But that will do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, that was ugly. But that's the end. But enemy phase, everything's exhausted. So we'll re-ready everything. The Gun Sentinel, I'm going to give him... Actually, he readies, so each investigator is going to take a horror. So Ursula will go up to 2. Jenny will go up to 4. And I'm going to give him to... I'm going to give him to Ursula, actually. Just in the hope that Jenny can play her Thompson this turn. But that will do it for the enemy phase. And we've actually started into the upkeep phase, so we'll move back up top to continue that. We're back up top for the upkeep phase. Ursula will gain a resource and go up to 1 resource. Jenny will gain 2 resources and go up to 5. Ursula will draw. Mind over matter. Play only during your turn. At the end, until the end of the round, you may use your lore in place of your combat and agility. Jenny will draw. Oh my, the Ornate Bow. 4 cost to play. Uses 1 ammo. Limit 1 ammo on Ornate Bow. As an action, spend an ammo to fight. This attack uses agility instead of combat. You get +2 agility and deal +2 damage for this attack. Action, you knock another arrow, place an ammo on Ornate Bow. I think I'm even happier to see this than I am to see the Thompson. So let's go ahead and check Jenny's hand size real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, we are good there. Start of round, Hard Knocks replenishes for Jenny. Mythos Phase, the agenda advances. Alright. The path darkens. A sudden wave of pain and nausea passes over you, and for a brief moment, it seems the very fabric of reality is tearing apart. The feeling passes quickly, but it's obvious that something is not quite right. Shuffle the encounter discard pile into the deck. Place 1 damage on the scenario reference card. So we're getting our first damage on the scenario reference card, which means the skull is now a -1. So we'll grab the discard pile and shuffle it into the deck. Give that a cut. And then we'll take a look at our new agenda. Agenda 2A, Beset by Monsters. As you continue to explore, the creatures of the underworld grow agitated and begin to pursue you, as if compelled by some unseen force. Hint, the game will not necessarily end when this agenda advances, but the stability of reality will continue to unravel. Foredoomed to advance that. Alright, so we'll go into our deck of doom. Ursula will draw. Rotting Remains, test Will 3. For each point you fail by, take a horror. So right now we are even, and Ursula has nothing she wants to commit. How about Jenny? Jenny is not going to commit either, so Ursula is unfortunately at even. And even gets us there. So that's a lucky turn of events for Ursula. Jenny will draw. Whispers of Hypnos. Peril. Oh boy. Revelation. Choose a skill. Will, lore, combat, or agility. For the remainder of the round, each investigator gets -2 to the chosen skill. You can't choose a skill that has already been chosen by a copy of this effect this round. No god or daemon could have aspired to discoveries and conquests like those which we planned in Whispers. H.P. Lovecraft, Hypnos. I think we're going to go -2 will for the round. But I'm very happy to see that rather than another enemy. Speaking of which, our first investigator this round will be Jenny, and we'll move over to her play area. Alright, Jenny. Action 1. We are going to spend 4 resources to play the... Come on, there we go. To play the ornate bow that we just drew. So we'll put that into play. We'll go get our handy-dandy arrow token for that. I bought this. This actually came from a friend of mine who got it off of Etsy from Buy the Same Token. They're the same company that makes Lola's Class Wheel. So I'll provide a link to them in the description down below. So there's our arrow token for the ornate bow. Action 2, we're going to take a shot at the Guggs Sentinel. So we're at... 5. I'm going to commit her copy of Lone Wolf to get to 6. And then we're going to spend a resource from Hard Knocks, 7. We're up 2, trying to do 3 damage. Jenny, please, for the love of God, don't miss. +1 is not a miss, so that's 3 damage on the Guggs Sentinel. That was action 2. Action 3, we're going to knock another arrow. We're going to re-knock the arrow. Then action 4, we're going to take another shot, spending our last resource off of Hard Knocks and her last resource period to put her up to trying to take that thing out. So we're up to, still trying to do 3 damage. Oh boy, we get tentacle touched at the worst time, so Ursula just got rocked. For 3 damage. Fantastic. Let's see, play the bow, shoot, knock, shoot. Okay, so Jenny is out of actions. Yuck. Alright, Ursula. Ursula's turn is going to move her over to her player area. Alright, Ursula. Jenny got tentacle touched at the worst time, which caused you a lot of damage. So let's see if we can't get you out of this. We're going to spend your last resource into hyper-awareness to put you up to trying to evade. The Elder Thing. -3 if you fail by 2 or more, but we fail, so that's the important part. Action 2, we're going to run that back. Unfortunately, we're only up 1. Let's see if there's anything I want to commit this. Actually, up 1, there is not. So Ursula is up 1. I need to get her out of here if I can. -2. Action 3 will be to try to evade it again. And I have no choice. I think now I have to commit Mind Over Matter to put her up 2, trying to evade. Do you guys believe this luck? 2 tentacles in 7 actions. Fantastic. Right, so that brings us out of the investigation phase. Enemy phase, Ursula gets defeated by damage. So she's going to take a physical trauma. Wonderful. Which means Jenny is also going to make a friend. So that also means Ursula drops her clues on the city of Guggs. Oh, wonderful. Just what I wanted to see. Alright, so I'm going to have to stretch across. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wonderful. Alright, so we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. We're back up top for the upkeep phase. I'm just going to hover in Jenny's play area. So the Gun Sentinel will ready. Jenny will take a horror. From that, she'll go up to 5 sanity. She'll gain 2 resources. And then Jenny will draw. Watch this. Right. Alright, so start of round. Jenny will get her 2 resources on Hard Knocks. Whispers of Hypnos ends. Mythos Phase time. Doom goes up to 1. Jenny will draw. A Hunting Ghast. Fantastic. After it enters a location with a Gugg enemy. Fortunately, that is a Gugg. So ready each Gugg and deal 1 damage to the Ghast. So we get our damage. Excuse me, for the Ghast. So that brings us into the investigation phase. And Jenny's our only investigator right now. So we are going to attack the Ghast first. We're going to spend a resource from Hard Knocks to go up 2. Elder Sign's another +2, so the Hunting Ghast is dead. Alright, Jenny, so action 2 now is going to be to try to evade the Gun Sentinel. We're going to spend your last resource from Hard Knocks to go up 1. And I'm going to commit... Watch this with 2 resources to put you up 2. This has a very all-or-nothing feel to it, fortunately. Alright, looks like we dodged that bullet for the time being at least. So that gets evaded. Jenny gets 4 resources back from that. Action 3, she'll re-knock the bow. And then action 4, she'll attack the Sentinel at... Wait, she's even? Oh, boy. Yeah. I think that's what we're going to have to do. I think we're going to have to attack it and then spend 3 resources to put her up 3. Trying to kill it. Skull is -1. Thank criminy. Alright, so Jenny gets the 2 clues. That thing goes in the victory display. That will do it for Jenny at long last. Enemy phase, the only enemies are ghoul minions. So anyway, we'll move back into the upkeep phase. So for the upkeep phase, Jenny will gain 2 resources and go to 3 resources. Then she'll draw. For the love. Reckless. Commit only to a skill test that you are performing of any type that has no other cards committed to it. Other cards can't be committed to this skill test. If this test fails, return the skill to your hand. Forced. If Reckless is in your hand at the end of your turn, reveal it and lose 2 resources. Fantastic. Alright, so start of round. Jenny gets her hard knocks. Doom goes up to 2. Jenny will draw. Frozen in Fear. Not what I wanted to see right now in particular. Okay, so that brings us back into the investigation phase. She's going to spend an action to re-knock her bow. Then she's going to investigate, and I'm going to commit Leo De Luca, her other copy of Leo, to put her up 2. -1 gets her one of the clues. Action 4 will be to spend 2 resources and play her Hallowed Mirror. Not that I think this is really going to end up mattering in the grand scheme of things, but I'm gonna try to play it out. Then of course her turn's going to end, so she's going to lose her last resource. I'll take her other 2 copies of Soothing Melody that go into the deck. Alright, give that a cut. And then she's going to test Frozen in Fear. She's even. I don't want to commit... Okay, no. Actually, yeah, at the end of turn. Yeah, we might as well commit Reckless just to try to get it out of the hand. So we're at even. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. So at least we get rid of that. Right. Okay, so now we're into... So enemy phase, nothing happened. Upkeep phase... Oh, okay, yeah. Enemy phase, nothing happened. That was all at the end of her turn. So enemy phase... The ghoul minions don't move, and now we're into resource draw. So Jenny will get those 2 resources back. And then she'll draw. Beretta M1918. If we hadn't played the bow already, we'd probably be looking at this right now. But anyway. Doom will... We're in the Mythos phase now. Start of round would happen, except Hard Knocks is already full up. Doom goes up to 3. Then Jenny draws. Ancient Evils. Fantastic. Alright, so we advance the agenda. The Weaver approaches. Again you are shaken by a feeling of sudden feeling of instability as reality shifts and bends around you. The wave is more intense than before, and it seems to originate from the sea of pitch in the depths of the underworld. Each investigator must either discard 1 card at random from their hand or lose 2 resources, shuffle the discard pile into the deck, place a damage on the scenario reference card, then, if there are 5 or more damage tokens on the reference card, proceed to R2. Otherwise, flip this back over. Alright, so... Jenny is going to discard a card at random, unfortunately. Alright, we will take this one. And it's Arcane Studies. I can live with that. Then we shuffle the discard pile back in. Alright, so that's all handled. And then we place a damage on the scenario reference card. So there's that. And then we flip this back over. And we're looking at a fresh agenda once again for 2A. And then Jenny's Mythos card is... Oh no. Never mind. Ancient Evils advanced it. Never mind. I will stop taking blows to the head. I hopefully will stop taking blows to the head now. But anyway, that will do it for the Mythos phase. The start of a new investigation phase for Jenny will actually take her over to the map. Alright, so I can tell I'm pretty much at a point right now where the scenario is just going sideways no matter what I do. So, might as well try to take these ghouls out and then I can come back and work on these clues. So for action 1, Jenny's going to go back into the Vaults of Zin, make friends with the ghoul minions. Actually, I'm going to leave them right here in shot because we're going to try to take them both out. Action 2, she'll punch this ghoul minion first. And then she's going to spend a resource from Hard Knocks to go up 2. Skull's a -2, so that one's dead. Action 3, we'll take a shot from the bow at the other minion, so we're up 3. Yeah, up 3. Alright, Skull, as we saw, is a -2. That other ghoul minion's dead. And action 4, we'll move back over to the city of Guggs. That'll do it for Jenny. For the investigation phase. Enemy phase, nothing going on. So we'll move back up top for the upkeep phase. We're back up top for the upkeep phase. Jenny will gain 2 resources and go up to 4. Then she'll draw. Soothing Melody. We're probably going to be doing some healing this round. But I'm getting ahead of myself there. Alright, so start of round, Hard Knocks gets replenished. Mythos phase, we go up to 1 doom on the agenda. And then Jenny draws. Hunting Ghast, wonderful. So much for the healing this round. Right, so into the investigation phase we go. Jenny will try to initiate a knock the bow action, which will trigger an attack of opportunity. Leo is going to take 1 and 1 from the Hunting Ghast. And action 2, we're immediately going to shoot the Ghast up 3. Skull is -2, so the Ghast is dead. Action 3 will re-knock the bow. Action 4 will play one of the Soothing Melodies to heal her for 2 horror. And draw a card. And then from that she draws. .41 Derringer. Another weapon. But that will do it for the... wait. Right, so knock an arrow, shoot, Soothing Melody. Actually, she has 1 more action left, I think. Yeah. Knock the arrow, shoot. Soothing Melody, yeah, she has 1 more action left. Oh, re-knock the arrow. Never mind, she's out of actions. Okay. So enemy phase, our only enemy's dead. So we go into upkeep phase. Jenny gains 2 resources, goes up to 6, and then proceeds to draw. Yeah, that tracks. Searching for Izzy. So fortunately we can put that at any location. But I have to put it farthest from her. So again, that's any of these. I'm going to put it at the plane of the ghouls, since we're going to have to go there anyway at some point. Alright, start of round, Hard Knocks would replenish, but that's already full up. Doom will go up to 2. And then Jenny will draw. Lumbering Gug. Hilarious. Alright, so... yeah, this is... you must be joking. Well, good thing I wanted the scenario to be over soon at this point. But anyway. Alright, so... first action in the investigation phase is we're actually going to try to evade that, and we're going to spend the 2 resources from Hard Knocks and put her up 3. Hard Knocks is thematically, we are definitely getting knocked around here. Okay, a 0 exhausts the Gug. And for action 2, we're going to investigate up 1. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. If you fail by 2 or more, choose a ready enemy at your location or a connecting location, except there are no ready enemies. We definitely fail. Action 3 will run that back. That is at least my 4th tentacle this scenario. Action 4 will run that back. Wow, I cannot get out of my own way this scenario. Alright, so, enemy phase, nothing happens in the enemy phase. Upkeep phase, because I exhausted the Gug, it doesn't ready during this upkeep phase. So Jenny will gain 2 resources and go up to 8. And she'll draw. Backstab. Fight. This attack uses agility instead of combat. This attack deals +2 damage. Possibilities. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Mythos goes up. Doom goes up to 3. And then Jenny draws. Frozen in Fear. Wonderful. Just what I wanted to see this right now. Alright, so if I know that's going to unexhaust this upkeep phase, Jenny's first action is going to be to investigate. Right, a 0 gets her a clue. Action 2 will be to investigate again. Nope. And then actions 3 and 4 will move her up to the plane of the ghouls just to get her away from the lumbering Gug. And then she's got to test Frozen in Fear at even. Well, we're in a little better shape now, so I'm actually going to commit a Soothing Melody to put her up 1 to give her something resembling a chance to get rid of this Frozen in Fear. Go figure. -2. Right. Okay, so that does it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, nothing happening. So now we're into the upkeep phase, where now the lumbering Gugg will ready. Jenny will get 2 resources, go up to 10. And then she'll draw. Another soothing melody. Okay. Start of round, resources on Hard Knocks replenish. Mythos, we advance again. So once again, actually this time Jenny's going to lose those 2 resources, go back down to 8. Discard pile goes back in, and we put a damage on the scenario reference card. Clear those doom out of the way. Shuffle and a cut. And then coming out of the Mythos phase, Jenny will draw. Whispers of Hypnos. I'm going to name Will for this round. Anyway, that will do it. Ugh, put it on the... Wonderful. Okay, so... yeah. Alright, so Jenny's first action is going to be to try to investigate they're searching for Izzy location. I'm going to commit her copy of Soothing Melody to get her to even. So that's 2 actions to try to get rid of searching for Izzy. Mostly because I don't want her to take additional trauma. Other than she's probably already going to take coming out of this scenario. So we're even. That is definitely a no, sir. Skull is a -3 right now. Action 2 is going to need to draw a card. Another Derringer. Action 3... ugh. I think actions 3 and 4 are going to be to move back down to the lumbering Gugg. Then during the enemy phase, Leo will eat his attack. We'll eat we'll eat 1 and 1 on the attack, and then Jenny will have to take the other 1 and 1. Oop. Jenny has a 1 here that she can flip for horror. I'm going to try to take out this. I'm going to try to take out this Gugg actually. So now we'll move back. Actually, at the end of her turn, she tests Will 3. It's not going to change the... not going to change Leo having to eat the attack. Oh boy. Okay, so this was end of turn. So let's back this up. This was actually end of turn. We were at even trying to get rid of Frozen and Fear. We definitely failed by 2 or more. So Leo would have eaten that attack. And then Jenny would have still taken 1 and 1. So she still does take 2 and 2 on enemy phase. Yikes. This is a problem. Alright, so we're 1 sanity from dead, and ugh. Great. Okay, so now we're on upkeep phase. So Jenny draws. Overpower. Fantastic. Alright, so this goes away. Whispers of Hypnos is over. Doom is going on the agenda up to 1. Jenny draws. Grasping Hands. Test Agility 3. For each point you fail by, take a damage. I'm going to commit her Beretta M1918 to get her up 1. And then the 2 resources at every turn from Hard Knocks to go up 3. And a 0 lets her survive, at least for the time being. Anyway. Alright, so... question is, how do we survive this? Very carefully, I think. Actions 1 and 2... Actually, yeah, actions 1 and 2 will be to shoot at the Lumbering Gug. We're up 1... I'm going to spend 2 resources into Hard Knocks to put her up 3. Right now, I have to try to take his, either have to take his Gug out or try to evade it. Skull is a -3, so we do get 3 damage on it. Alright, so now comes the moment of truth. Do we try to take it out, or do we try to evade it? Because if I fail either test, I'm dead. This scenario is over. Because Jenny will be taking the attack. I think the better chance I have is just to try to take it out now. So I'm going to spend 3 resources to play Backstab. So I'm using Agility instead of Combat for +2 damage. I'm going to spend 3 resources into Hard Knocks. I gotta spend 4 resources to get her up 3, actually. Alright, the 0 actually does kill the Lumbering Gug. Man alive, that much effort for no victory points. But at least it's dead now, and we do have to test Frozen in Fear. So we are at even. Skull definitely does not get rid of it. Right, so that brings us back into the Upkeep Phase. Jenny will gain 2 resources, go up to 3, and draw. Copy of Guts. We should be able to use this to get rid of Frozen in Fear at last. Alright, so... at start of round, Hard Knocks replenishes. Doom on the Mythos Phase. Doom will go up to 2. And then Jenny draws. Taste of Lifeblood. Uh-oh. Test Will 3. For each point you fail by, you must choose 1. Place a clue on your location, place a clue on the nearest enemy, or take a damage. Unfortunately, I think I do have to use Guts to try to stop this. So that puts her up 2. And Skull's a -3. Wonderful. Alright, so we are going to put a clue on the location. Oh, joy, joy, joy. Anyway, so that brings us back into the investigation phase. Jenny is going to investigate, still up 1. And I don't have any... Actually, I'm going to draw a card for 1, see if I can find some lore or something. Moon 18. That would have been handy way back at the start of the game. Anyway, we'll investigate. -1 does get her a clue, surprisingly enough. Then action 3, we'll do it again. Yeah. That was a -2. Alright, so that's the end of the investigation phase. Enemy phase, no enemies in play, so now we're on upkeep. Go up to 5 resources and draw. Jenny's Twin 45s. Another weapon. Uses combat and deals +2 combat, deals +1 damage. But anyway, Doom on the agenda. Goes up to 3. Hard Knocks is already full up. Jenny draws. Dissonant Voices. Can't play assets or events. Cool. Alright, so action 1 is actually going to be to re-knock the arrow. Re-knock the bow. Action 2 will be to investigate. Fortunately, that does nothing right now other than fail me hard. Action 3. How many of these things have I drawn this scenario? I think I've lost count at this point. But anyway, that is another fail. End of round, or end of turn, Jenny tests Frozen in Fear. I don't think she has any will I can commit. No, it is pretty much all combat except for her Twin 45s, which is going to give her 1. Not that it's really going to matter in the grand scheme of things. Well, the -1 does let us discard Frozen in Fear, but that's a little too late, I think. But anyway, we're into Upkeep Phase. 9 resources. Draw. Manual Dexterity. Dissonant Voices goes away. Then we advance again. Jenny will lose 2 resources from the agenda advancing. Shuffle the discard pile into the deck. Another damage on point on the scenario reference card. Alright. And Jenny draws for her Mythos card. Hunting Ghast. Okay. We should be able to deal with that pretty easily. But we have to deal with it somehow, or Jenny gets defeated by mental trauma and takes another mental trauma because she's going to have to leave her sister behind again, it looks like. Right. So Jenny will take a shot at the Ghast. She's up 3, trying to overkill it. The skull just became a -4. So, yeah. Well, now we're going to try to evade it, and I don't know why I didn't do this earlier, but I'm going to commit Manual Dexterity, going up 2. I wasn't paying attention, I will admit to that every day. How fitting. Tentacle touched. Action 3, I either evade it or the scenario's over, which I'm honestly kind of okay with at this point. This has just gone completely off the rails, and I'm going to spend 3 resources to put her up 3. -2 evades it. Oh, joy, joy. Alright, so that's the enemy, so that's the investigation phase. Enemy phase, nothing happens there. So now we move into the upkeep phase where everything re-readies. Jenny gains 2 resources to go up to 8. And then she'll draw. Overpower, which we're probably going to need next turn. But anyway, that will do it for the upkeep phase, and I'm going to be right back. Sorry for the delay there. I had to change my camera battery out. Anyway, so start of round, Hard Knocks will replenish its resources. Mythos phase time will go up to 1 on the agenda. And then Jenny will draw. Dissonant Voices. Good thing I'm not playing anything this turn. I am going to do some punching, though. So for action 1 in the investigation phase, we're going to punch the Hunting Ghast and commit Overpower to go up 3. +1 does a damage and draws us a card, which I need to be very careful about, because if we draw too many cards, we only have 4 cards left, now 3 until we bite it. And we draw Liquid Courage. Action 2, we'll hit it again. We're going to spend the 2 resources from Hard Knocks and 1 more besides to go up 4. -2 kills it, but I feel I can tell I'm just absolutely treading water at this point. Action 3, we're going to pay 1. Oh no, I can't do that. Never mind. Action 3, we're going to re-knock an arrow on the bow. That'll do it for the investigation phase. Enemy phase, nothing happens. So upkeep phase. Jenny will gain 2 resources, go up to 9. She'll draw. Unexpected Courage. That's the skill card that'll give you 2 wild cards. End of round, that goes away. Mythos, okay, start a round. Hard Knocks replenishes. Mythos phase, Doom goes up to 2. Jenny draws. Routing Remains, test Will 3. For each point you fail by, take a horror. Yeah, the scenario is almost over here, but I'm going to still commit Unexpected Courage to get her up 2. And I'm going to commit... No, I'm going to have her test up 2. Alright, a +1 lets us survive for a little bit. Alright, so now that we can play assets again, Jenny's action 1 is going to be to spend 1 resource to play a copy of Liquid Courage. I don't think we've seen this before. So Will on commit, but we're playing it. Uses 4 supplies. Action, spend a supply. Choose an investigator at your location to heal 1 horror. Then, that investigator tests Will 2. If the test succeeds, he or she heals an additional horror. If the test fails, he or she discards a card at random from hand. So we'll get our 4 supplies. There are 4 supplies. Oop. Alright, so that's action 1. Action 2, we'll go ahead and heal a horror. Then we'll test Will 2. We don't have any will to commit, so we're up 1. That tracks. Fortunately, that just fails us right now. That doesn't cause an enemy to spawn, to come attack us. So, we do have to discard a card at random from hand. At least we're not in danger of just being defeated by horror here. Thanks to even the first heal, and we lose the Overpower. Let's see. Knock, play, heal. Okay. So that's it for the investigation phase. No enemies in play, so we'll go into upkeep. Jenny will gain 2 resources, go up to 10. Then she'll draw. Her other unexpected courage, which I've been wondering where those have been all scenario. Alright, start a round. Hard Knocks is already charged up. Doom is going up to 3. Jenny's card for the turn is Another Rotting Remains. Test Will 3 for each point you fail by take a horror. And once again, do I care at this point? Not especially. I'm just going to test it even. +1. Okay. Alright, so Jenny's investigation phase this time is going to take us over to the map. Alright, Jenny. Action 1, we're going to move you up to Plane of the Ghouls. Actions 2 and 3, we're going to investigate. We're going to use the action on searching for Izzy. Commit Unexpected Courage to bring you up 1. Mostly because I want to try to spare you another mental trauma going into the next scenario. Go figure. -2. Yeah, the bag has basically been telling us no all scenario. So, yeah, that's fantastic. Anyway, we'll move back up top. Enemy phase, nothing happens. I'm not even going to bother moving until we go into scenario resolution. Upkeep phase, we would gain 2 resources, draw a card, which the last card of her deck is Dynamite Blast, which we needed a long time ago. Then because her deck's out of cards, she actually does take a horror from that. Start a round. That would replenish. Mythos phase, we go up to 4 on the agenda, so we advance that. Discard a card. Actually, we'll lose the 2 resources we just gained. Shuffle the discard pile in, but I'm not going to bother with that because we're putting our 5th damage up on the scenario reference card. And that will actually end the scenario. So we're at 5 damage on the reference card, so we'll move back up top to start resolving the scenario. Alright, so we proceed to Resolution 2. As usual, if you hear any background noise, that's just me cleaning up.
Resolution 2. You brace yourself as another wave of distorted reality crashes into you. This feeling, whatever it is growing stronger as time marches on. Someone or something is causing it. But how? Just as you were pondering its meaning, you realize something curious. You aren't the only one affected. Far from it, in fact. The entirety of the underworld seems to be changing with each wave of warped energy that flows through the realm. Walls shift, the floor skews, and the dim phosphorescent light scintillates with a cosmic, otherworldly glow. The ground rumbles as another wave of force rushes through the foundations of the dream world. The rocky surface upon which you stand gives way. You flail in the air, attempting to grab hold of something, anything that you can use to pull yourself up. Your hands wrap around a painted plank of wood. You have no time to question its appearance. Survival comes first. When you pull yourself up, you realize you are curled up on a park bench, Surrounded by a thick fog and the grim, gambrel rooftops of Arkham, there is no ground in front of you, just an open, endless pit into fathomless depths. The underworld, perhaps? But how is that possible? Virgil's cat watches you casually from a tree branch that hangs over the park bench. It won't stop, the black cat tells you, not until there is nothing left of your world. You wonder what you could possibly do in the face of such horror. The cat gazes down into the pit below. It's waiting for you. Another rumble. In the distance, you watch with horror as an entire building is sucked into the ground. You think you spot a pedestrian in the distance, but it is no human. If this goes on any longer, your companions won't have a world to awaken to. You steel yourself, look down into the empty pit, and gulp. Down you go, the cat says. You fall. The roar of the wind is deafening as it whips by your head. You can't possibly survive a fall like this, you think. But instead of splattering against a hard, rocky ground, you are caught by a glowing, sinewy web. Panicking, you scramble to a nearby platform made of solid rock. Your refuge is one of many, each suspended in the air and connected by thick webbing. Beyond that is a vast, cosmic space, an infinite darkness that stretches as far as the eye can see. The lead investigator has earned the False Awakening weakness. The Dream Eater's number 275 does not count toward deck size. Add this card to the lead investigator's deck. For each damaged...
Alright, so just like Lola picking this up, we have to add this to Jenny's deck. It's the exact same thing on this side that Lola has on the Dream side. Wonderful. So once again, we'll take a look at this real quick before I sleeve it up. False Awakening begins each game next to the agenda deck with one Doom on it. As an action, test any skill 2. This test gets +1 per investigator difficulty, so it'd actually be a 4 test. If you succeed, remove False Awakening from the game. Any investigator may trigger this ability. Alright. Come on. There we go. No. Also, before it starts playing, since it doesn't seem to want to right now, before the resolution starts playing, Jenny did pick up another mental trauma because we had to leave her sister behind again, despite our best efforts.
Scenario reference card. Record one tally mark next to steps of the bridge in your campaign log. Each investigator...
Which I've already done that. We have 5 steps of the bridge, so as you can see by the 5 damage on the scenario reference card. Carry on.
Experience equal to the victory X value of each card in the victory display.
This was a pretty terrible scenario, but losing Ursula early really hurt. To the point where I felt like I was just going to be treading water for the rest of it. But unfortunately, we only managed to get 3 experience because Ursula dropped 6 clues on the city of the Guggs after Jenny inadvertently shot her with her bow. So, yeah, that was pretty bad. But, carry on.
If you are playing the Web of Dreams as a 4-part campaign, proceed to Scenario 4B, Weaver of the Cosmos. If you are playing the Dream Quest and the Web of Dreams as an interconnected 8-part campaign, and you have not yet played Scenario 3A, Dark Side of the Moon, proceed to that scenario. And you have already played Scenario 3A, Dark Side of the Moon, proceed instead to Interlude 3, The Great Ones.
Alright, so we are going to be proceeding to the Interlude because we played Scenario 3A last week with Lola and Harvey. So, let's go right into the Interlude.
Interlude 3, The Great Old Ones. Read this interlude only if you are playing the Dream Quest and the Web of Dreams as an interconnected 8-part campaign. Do not read this interlude until both Scenarios 3A, Dark Side of the Moon, and 3B, Point of No Return, have been completed.
Yeah.
The Great Ones 1. Following Scenario 3A, the Dreamers are on their way to the cold wastes wherein lies unknown Kadath. You are nudged out of a sleepless reverie by a furry forehead. You look down to find the black cat peering up at you. Hey, I see you've made some progress. You're not quite sure if you would call this progress. Though you're finally on your way to the cold waste, you haven't pinned down the exact location of unknown Kadath, and you have no idea what to expect when you arrive. Check the campaign log for the Dream Quest Campaign A. Read the section below that applies to your situation, then proceed to the following text. If no section applies, skip them.
Alright, so the sections it's going to be prompting for are if the dreamers grow weaker, and that'll be in campaign A. The dreamers do not grow weaker. We didn't ask for it, and Randolph did not survive. Randolph survived the voyage, and the Black Cat was not searching for the truth. So
ask the Black Cat if it knows what you'll find in Kadath. Sort of, it answers. I've foreseen your arrival in Kadath for some time now. I've seen a lot of this, in fact, but it's not playing out exactly the same way. Or maybe I just didn't see it the same way. Regardless, I think you're on the right path. After all, it's the only path that's left. I know a little more about what you'll see when you get there, but I'm afraid that if I tell you, you'll see it differently too. Don't worry about it. You're doing fine. Get to Kadath. Find the land of the Great Ones. Everything else will fall into place when you arrive, as long as you don't mess this up. These beings that you face, the ones whose names I do not wish to speak, they don't just threaten the Dreamlands. They threaten reality, they threaten existence itself. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have somewhere to be. Check campaign log. If the Black Cat has a hunch, it bounds off into the void of space before you get the chance to ask it anything else. Otherwise, the Black Cat offers to pass a message along to your companions. The lead investigator must decide. Choose one. Tell your companions about the threats you face. The Black Cat will return to you with aid once this message is delivered. This may put an undue burden on your companions. In the campaign log for the Dream Quest, Campaign A, record the Black Cat spoke of Nyarlathotep. Tell your companions that you will be okay. The Black Cat will stay with them once this message is delivered. This might make your quest a little more difficult. In the campaign log for the Dream Quest Campaign A, record the Black Cat spoke of Atlach-Naka.
okay, so coming into this scenario, I was wondering which ancient one we were going to be warning about. In all honesty, without the cat, the Dreamers don't stand a chance. As we saw, this build of Lola is insanely vulnerable to her personal weakness. And like I said, without the Dreamers, or without the cat, the Dreamers don't stand a chance. I'm not sure I like the Dreamers' chances even with the cat, honestly. So that left me with a cold-blooded question coming into this scenario. If the dream campaign looked unwinnable, but the waking side looked like I'd be able to salvage it, the question was going to be, do I move the cat to the wakers, give the Dreamers up for lost, and try to win on the waking side, or do I leave the cat with the Dreamers and try to basically end up chasing my own tail? I had decided earlier this week that if the waking side looked winnable coming out of this scenario, I'd pour everything into their last scenario since the Dreamers look so far like they're in a no-win situation. But I didn't expect to get rocked even harder in this scenario than the Dreamers got rocked. So I don't think we really have a good choice here. I think ultimately Jenny and Ursula can probably manage a little bit better, assuming Ursula doesn't get rocked within the first few turns of the scenario. So I think we're just going to leave the cat with the Dreamers. So the Black Cat is going to speak of Nyarlathotep. Just making a note in the campaign log. Alright.
Proceed to the Great Ones 2. The Great Ones 2. Following Scenario 3B, the investigators have reached a cosmic penumbra between worlds. The cat's low-pitched wail draws your attention to a nearby web. When you arrive, you find the Black Cat stuck on a patch of particularly sticky web, wriggling back and forth in a vain attempt to free itself. Even with its sharp claws, it seems to be in trouble. You lean over and pull the cat free, and it leaps from your arms to a rocky platform below. The only thing below the cat, between the cat and an endless void. It hisses for a moment and then stands tall. Did I ask for your help? It scolds. Well, you made it below the sea of pitch after all. Now look around you. See all this webbing? You couldn't miss it even if you tried. You are surrounded on all sides by webs, treacherous pathways across the aether. It is a bridge between your world and the Dreamlands. If it is completed, the two will merge. Understand? Unless you want everything to look like that hospital where your friends are sleeping, you have to stop this at all costs. Nothing else matters. Nothing. Check the campaign log for the Dream Quest Campaign A. Read each selection below that applies to your situation. Then proceed to the following text. If no section applies, skip them.
Check the campaign log for the Dream Quest Campaign A. Read each section below that applies to your situation. The investigators... Wait. That has to be a typo. That does feel like a typo. Because the investigators on campaign on side B were the ones who went and got the silver key, and I thought they picked... Yeah, I did. The investigators possessed the silver key. I think I just forgot to record it in the campaign log. But Ursula, let me look in her deck. Yeah, here it is. Ursula has the silver key. So the investigators do possess the silver key.
Oh, before...
Here it is. No.
If the investigators possess the silver key...
Yeah, here it is, okay.
Hey, you still have that key, the Black Cat asks? You scrounge through your belongings for the key you found in the unnameable...
This key right here.
Cat. Give me that, it demands, jumping and biting it out of your hands before you can protest. Don't look at me like that. Your other friends need it more than you. In the campaign log for the Web of Dreams, Campaign B, cross off the investigators possess the silver key. Record this in the campaign log for the Dream Quest, Campaign A, instead. If the silver key is currently in an investigator's deck, remove it. Any one investigator in the Dream Quest, Campaign A, may choose to add the silver key to their deck. This card does not count toward that investigator's deck size.
Alright, so I'm just finished recording that in the campaign log. So we're taking this out of Ursula's deck, and I think, given her perilous stats, I'm going to move it to Lola. So we're going to take the silver key out of Ursula's deck, find a spare sleeve for Lola, and we're going to add it to Lola's deck. Just because we're going to need any way to prevent horror that we can get. Alright, now let's come back to the second part of...
Oh, before I forget, your friends have almost made it to their destination. If everything happens as I have foreseen, they'll be able to free themselves. In the meantime, they wanted me to let you know. Check the campaign log for the Dream Quest Campaign A. Read the section below that applies to your situation. Once the relevant entry has been read, choose and proceed to either Scenario 4A, where the gods dwell, or Scenario 4B, Weaver of the Cosmos. If the Black Cat is searching for the truth...
Which he's not.
If the Black Cat spoke of Atlak Naka...
Nope. Should be this one, then.
If the Black Cat spoke of Nyarlathotep...
There we go.
The being they face is one with thousands, perhaps an endless number of masks. Nyarlathotep, it is called by some. It is manipulative, deceptive, and cunning. It is probably the thing that trapped them in the Dreamlands to begin with. Why? I have no idea. If you want them to survive, they're probably going to need my help. You'll be okay here on your own, right? The Black Cat doesn't wait for an answer. Without another word, it leaps into the aether below and vanishes. Check both campaign logs. If neither campaign log has the Black Cat is at your side recorded, in the campaign log for the Dream Quest Campaign A, record the Black Cat is at your side. Add one Elder Thing token to the chaos bags for both campaigns. If the campaign log for the Web of Dreams Campaign B has the Black Cat is at your side recorded, cross it off and record it in the campaign log for the Dream Quest Campaign A instead. Replace one Rune token in each campaign's chaos bag with one Elder Thing token. If the campaign log for the Dream Quest Campaign A has the Black Cat is at your side recorded, no changes made.
So, yeah. So the Dreamers have had the Black Cat at their side the entire campaign. And they're going to have it right up until the end. So, next week, that'll do it for this scenario. Next week, we'll upgrade all 4 decks during the week. And then the next 2 weeks, we'll wrap up this campaign. First up, Lola and Harvey will venture where the gods dwell. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you also turn on notifications so you don't miss my content. As usual, if I make any mistakes, please let me know in the comments. I do try to catch them in editing, but of course, I'm only human. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone.
Thank you.